Despite losing money every single year of its existence, the WNBA is actually being talked about this year. And there's one person you can thank for that. That is Caitlin Clark. She's completely changed the game. We saw her do that in women's college basketball, and now it's happening again in the WNBA. And as a result of that, she has been attacked by so many players, current and former, so many commentators, specifically because they're upset that so many people are paying attention to Caitlin Clark. And a lot of it seemed to be racially based attacks. Well, when the WNBA commissioner, who is in the middle of their most successful season in history, went on the news the other day, she was asked a question about, some of those fans out there, those fans that are just spewing hate and vitriol. In reality, the ones that have been spewing hate from the beginning have been the Angel Reese stans and the old guard of the WNBA who hate the fact that Caitlin Clark has made all of this relevant. WNBA commissioner issues response after Caitlin Clark Angel Reese statement goes viral. And subsequently, she has been slammed from players for not standing up for them. How dare you be happy that this league is actually on its way to being successful instead of completely irrelevant. And you can see this in this Outkick article. WNBA Players Association scolds commissioner for not condemning Caitlin Clark's toxic fans. WNBA commissioner refuses to feed into toxicity narrative. During an appearance on CNBC's Power Lunch, Engelbert was asked about the added attention the WNBA has garnered since the introduction of Indiana Fever's #1 overall pick and Iowa sensation, Caitlin Clark. Let's listen to this. And this is like a ridiculous question to ask, clearly coming from someone who has no idea anything about sports or anything about the WNBA for that matter. Let's listen.
That question, which raises some sensitivities of rivalries between players. In the case of Angel Reese, who's just had to shut it down because of a wrist injury, Caitlin Clark, who's continuing to play. Rivalry that goes back to their college days, presumably, where I guess some trash talking entered in. But now...
Yeah, you have no idea what you're talking about at all.
It seems on some social media channels to have taken a darker turn, a more menacing turn, where race has been introduced into the conversation, where sexuality is sometimes introduced into the conversation. How do you try and stay ahead of that, try and tamp it down, or act as a league when two of your most visible players are involved, not personally, it would seem, but their fan bases are involved?
Oh, Angel Reese is absolutely involved in this. Are you joking? Angel Reese is out there calling people racist. Angel Reese is the one that is obsessed with Caitlin Clark. That much is clear and obvious. And a lot of the commentators, they stoked this from the beginning, all the way back in the college days where woke media tried to pretend like it was a big problem. And you need to be rooting for this all-black South Carolina team instead of these white girls from Iowa. That absolutely has played a role in all of this. And the WNBA commissioner, instead of feeding into this and pretending like, yeah, you know what, it's a real problem out there. No, she steers the question in the right way, the proper way, instead of feeding into this bullshit.
In saying some very uncharitable things about the other.
Well, the one thing that's great about the league right now, we do sit at this intersection of culture and sport and fashion and music. Like the WNBA players are really looked at now as kind of cultural icons.
True.
I don't know if I'd say cultural icons, one of them specifically, but there's no doubt that there's way more attention being paid to the WNBA right now. Again, solely because of Caitlin Clark. You can make all the other statements you want about all these different players. Caitlin Clark is the reason. The ratings prove that. The attendance proves that. All the attention on social media, it proves it's Caitlin Clark, no one else.
And when you have that, you have a lot of attention on you. There's no more apathy. Everybody cares. It is a little that Bird Magic moment, if you recall, from 1979 when those two rookies came in from a big college rivalry, one white, one black. And so we have that moment with these two. But the one thing I know about sports, you need rivalry. That's what makes people watch. They want to watch games of consequence between rivals. They don't want everybody being nice to one another. So the social media is different today than it was in 1979 when it didn't exist. But, I always tell the players, I was told a long time ago, if someone's typing something in and you wouldn't ask their advice, ignore it. So it's a balance, but certainly from a marketing dollars, but corporate partners are stepping up to endorse these players much more so than they were 5 years ago.
So that's the statement from the WNBA commissioner. Well, now the WNBA players, some of who have been extremely bitter and resentful towards Caitlin Clark this entire fucking time, now they're speaking out because this is not okay. A statement from the WNBA NBPA executive director, the players union, right? Here is the example the commissioner should have provided to the very clear question regarding the racism, misogyny, and harassment experienced by the players. There's absolutely no place in sport or in life for the vile hate, racist language, homophobic comments, and misogynistic attacks our players are facing on social media. This is not about rivalries or iconic personalities fueling a business model. This kind of toxic fandom should never be tolerated or left unchecked. It demands immediate action and, frankly, should have been addressed long ago. Here's some notable members of the Players Association, by the way. You know what's really funny? These players, these female basketball players, they would rather be irrelevant. They would rather lose fucking money. They would rather no one watch them than have actual people tuning in. Guess what? When you have fans tune in, there's going to be people that are passionate on all sides of this. And a lot of the active WNBA players and a lot of the commentators and a lot of the people in this space who were jealous and bitter and resentful that Caitlin Clark is getting the attention that you never got, you are the ones that fueled this. You are the first ones that made this about race, and you continue speaking out about this because of race. That is blatantly obvious for everyone to see. And when players like Angel Reese are consistently poking the bear, are now going out on podcasts and saying Caitlin Clark fans are racist, that's why this is happening. This is a you problem. It always has been. But this is an absolutely embarrassing response, right? The WNBA commissioner steered away from this bait question, trying to get her essentially to say, oh yeah, Caitlin Clark's brought a lot of racism and toxicity to this entire thing. Go fuck yourselves. The WNBA is now more relevant than it's ever been before, despite the fact that bitter WNBA players want it to go back to being irrelevant. Let me know your thoughts about all this in the comments section below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.